Hi, welcome to this episode of The Daily. My name is Brendan Malone. The other night I had the chance to watch the new Netflix/Ricky Gervais movie, Special Correspondence. It's part of this whole Netflix strategy where they're actually putting money into making their own movies. So they've previously been making their own television series. Now they are making their own films and paying people like Ricky Gervais to make movies for them. Unfortunately, Special Correspondence just fails to deliver. It is not a good film. It's got the genesis of a good movie, and there's a whole lot of pieces that are put on the board that actually, on paper, you look at and you think, yeah, this should be a really good film, but it just doesn't deliver. The whole thing comes to a very unsatisfying ending. I think part of the problem is that they've jammed a whole lot of different concepts into one movie instead of focusing on really one concept and really honing that and doing a really good job of that. They've tried to jam different elements together, a romantic comedy, a buddy comedy, commentary on the state of modern media affairs, and they never really bring any one of those things to a satisfying conclusion. In fact, the end of this movie, it just peters out. It kind of feels like they wrote themselves into a budgetary corner. They didn't know how to get out of it, and so they just literally workshopped a few ideas and then chucked a very basic and, like I said, unsatisfying ending on paper, and then said, let's just film that. For whatever reason, it just didn't work. And it said there's some really interesting moments in this. It sets certain things up and then never delivers. Benjamin Bratt, for example, is in this movie, and he has this role that has the potential. And what I thought was happening, they set him up at the beginning of the film. He's a foreign correspondent that works for another media organisation, and they set him up at the beginning of the film as this guy who basically tells lies and doesn't really do proper research and is just sort of a celebrity talking head, rather than a serious journalist. And the way they've set that up, though, is you're actually waiting for the payoff. When I saw that set up, I thought, oh, good, there's going to be an interesting payoff by the end of this movie where, Ricky Gervais and Eric Bana, who are the two leads, are going to run into this guy, and, there's going to be some hilarity that ensues, and he's going to be part of the dramatic tension. That's how it's all set up. He doesn't appear in the movie again. It's just this really wasted, pointless opportunity. So there's lots of sort of examples of things like that never really quite pay off in the film. The other thing I think that was a real problem for this movie was Ricky Gervais took on one of the lead roles in this movie, and he doesn't work. He just doesn't work in this movie. There's not a good chemistry between him and Eric Bana. It's not there. He's playing a very similar sort of character to this other characters he's played previously. But it just doesn't work in this film, and he's really not the right person, or he certainly, I don't know whether he doesn't have the chops to play that particular type of role that's written for this film, or whether he just kind of didn't. But he wasn't the right person, I don't think, for this role. And I think it actually needed, so I think Ricky Gervais got in the way. It's his own film, and I think he got in the way of it's one of the big reasons why I don't think this movie works. I think another actor in that role, I think he almost needed sort of like a George Costanza, Seinfeld type character, rather than the way Ricky Gervais played it and the type of actor that Ricky Gervais is. It wasn't going to work in that role. It was sort of too naturalistic, and he's playing off against Eric Bana in a movie that is really not in that sort of mockumentary style that Ricky Gervais is very good at and is sort of renowned for. So I'd have to say it was not an enjoyable experience. It could have been so much better. The genesis of a good movie is there, and there's some sort of enjoyable moments throughout this film and things that you think, man, this is going to be really good with the payoff, but it just never delivers in the end. So it's not a movie that I'll be recommending to anybody. And hopefully Netflix perhaps is a bit more critical, or casts more of a critical or discerning eye over some of this stuff in future, and that we don't just end up seeing a whole slew of movies from Netflix that are sort of like this one, that don't have that good standard. I'm hopeful that they'll sort it out, because one of their previous films, Beasts of No Nation, Idris Elba, absolutely amazing film. And people who have seen it outside of Netflix often don't realise it's a Netflix-funded film. And I don't think it got the attention it deserved at the Oscars unfairly, because it was primarily a Netflix-funded film. But it is actually a really good movie. So hopefully in future they'll lean more towards the Beasts of No Nation quality of filmmaking rather than Special Correspondence. Thanks for watching. I'll see you tomorrow on The Daily.